It starts as a dull headache, the type you would take a couple of aspirin and not give it much thought. But it keeps growing until it becomes a sharp shooting pain, with your temples taking the worst of it. At some point, your eyes go cross, and you become debilitated. James intently focuses on a control panel. His hand is in the air, using his fingers to count the seconds. He hits the kill switch when he reaches 0, and the pain disappears.
Excellent,
James says.
We have seen a 70% improvement since your training began.
I'm going to enjoy killing you. It will be a slow, painful death. I glare at James, but all he does is return that same goofy grin.
That's the idea. Get your aggression out. We need to get your baseline back to 0 before we go again.
James writes a few notes and adds up some numbers.
You are doing great. I'm going to ask the cook if we can have hot fudge sundaes for dessert, a reward for how well you're doing.
I'm not your pet pooch. You can't offer me a treat and expect me to perform for you. I rub my temples. Make sure he puts chopped nuts on it this time. James glances at me and says,
I don't like chopped nuts.
Then he goes back to working on a control panel. It has several large dials and a couple of vacuum tubes. Vacuum tubes, for shit's sake. Who's having their brain fried, me or you? It should be worth a few chopped nuts. We are in a large gymnasium. 2 guards stand nearby with tasers. So far, they have zapped me 3 times, twice when I went for James, and once when I tried for a guard. They stationed 3 more guards on a catwalk in the rafters. The guards have high-powered rifles and made it clear if the tasers don't stop me, the rifles will. Frank is at the other end of the floor shooting baskets with a guard carrying only a nightstick. When I asked about him, they told me he was there in case I needed my attitude adjusted. It's Frank's way of getting payback for my earlier attempt to escape. I hate these sons of bitches, and will be glad when my training ends.
Okay, are you ready to go again?
James adjusts a few dials and checks a few of the electrodes attached to my skull.
I think we can get your tolerance up another 5%. This is amazing. I'm seeing no brain damage at all.
James gives me a friendly tap on the head and I push his hand away. Let's keep it that way. I'm done. Frank and the guard with the nightstick head toward me. Put me in your little time machine and send me back. I want to get as far away as possible from you sadistic bastards. The guard slowly taps his nightstick into his open hand. Frank reaches out and stops him.
What do you think, James? Is he ready?
When we started, I would have been happy to get a 30% improvement. 70% is fantastic.
James makes a few notes and taps his pencil. He smiles at me, and I can tell he wants to pat me on the head again, but I scowl, and he wisely backs off.
I would like to get that extra 5%. The risk of causing brain damage is in the acceptable range, and the science I'm collecting is priceless. What do you think, Stan? Shall we go for it?
James grins and nods his head, trying to get me to agree. I'm not your damn lab rat. I pull the electrodes off my head. And in the future, use an adhesive that doesn't hurt so much.
All right, Robertson, you're ready. We told you everything we could about your great-grandfather. We've built up your tolerances to the feedback loop. You have some pills to help you manage the pain. We figure you have a month to kill him before your brain fries.
Frank's hands fly open, extending his fingers, and he mouths the word, poof. Doesn't this bother you? You're ordering me to murder another man. What makes this different from what I did? I mean, what I'm accused of doing, which I didn't do. It was a gross miscarriage.
Yeah, save it. Hank Robertson was a drunker and wife-beater. He is no loss to the world. And if we get Judge Wilkins back by eliminating him, that's a pretty good deal in my book. Besides, he died decades ago. We're not killing him. We are killing the memory of him.
I look at James, who is busy taking notes. What about you, James? Doesn't it bother you experimenting on humans?
Not really. I have the same brain configuration as you. We both have brain structures that lead to low empathy and questionable morals.
So you are a psychopathic killer?
Oh no, not a killer. 5% of the population has the same brain structure as us. Very few become killers. Statistically, psychopaths are less likely to become murderers than the general population. It's when people's emotions get out of control that murders happen. Psychopaths don't have that problem, but the ones that do murder are really good at it. They tend to kill a lot of people before they get caught. And they can be creative, cannibalism, sexual deviant behavior, mummification. The press eats that stuff up. It gives all psychopaths a bad name.
James made a few notes and then glanced up.
In your case, you are a murderer of convenience. Somebody is in your way or has something you want, and it's easier to just kill them. It doesn't give you any pleasure, but it doesn't bother you either. It is merely a task that needs to be done. You are a textbook cold-blooded killer.
I didn't kill anyone. I was framed. And is that any way to talk to me? I thought we were friends.
We are friends. I didn't mean anything by it. I would rather deal with a cold-blooded killer than a hot-blooded killer. A cold-blooded killer you can reason with. They will go away if you can show them it's to their advantage not to kill you. Someone who is hot-blooded isn't thinking. They are throwing knives and shooting guns. There is all kinds of collateral damage. It's a mess. I'll take a cold-blooded killer any day.
Like I said, I was framed.
Right. We are not sure why so many psychopaths get framed for murder.
It does come in handy for my line of work. I have no problem experimenting on humans. The strange thing is I can't do it to animals. They tried to get me to test my equipment on a dog. I refused to do it. Go figure.
James turns off the equipment. I see the orange glow from the vacuum tubes fade away.
Laika, the first dog in space, they had no way to bring her back to Earth. The Soviets sent her into orbit, knowing she would die alone. That's why I won't send dogs back in time.
But you have no problem sending me back.
You can fend for yourself. All you have to do is kill your great-grandfather. Problem solved.
So I'm no better than a dog?
Oh no, in my eyes a dog is way better than you. Nothing personal.
James, sometimes you make it hard to like you. James glances at me baffled. Just send me back in time, you assholes. 2 miles from the nuclear reactor, in the middle of a desolate field, is a fortified cinder block building containing the time machine. High-voltage power lines run directly from the reactor to the building. Sandbags stacked 8 feet high surround the structure. James explains they will help contain the blast if things go horribly wrong. I stop cold in my tracks 10 feet outside the building. James has the same silly smile while Frank looks annoyed. What the hell do you mean if things go horribly wrong?
You know, boom,
says James. He continues walking as if things go boom all the time. Holy shit. You never mentioned boom. Don't you think that is something I would be interested in? Instead, all you talked about was the arrow of time, entropy, and the third law of thermodynamics. All crap. I don't care shit about. James shakes his head and says,
It's the second law of thermodynamics, not third. Remember, the sum of the entropies of the interacting...
James, look at me and focus. Tell me about boom.
There have been a few incidents. You know, stuff that needs minor tweaks. Energy surges, cooling valves not opening. One time, the engineer forgot to carry the 1. Can you imagine? A simple mistake like not carrying a 1 and boom. But we got it mostly worked out.
Not carrying the 1? Don't you guys use calculators?
We like to do the calculations in our head. It's fun, but since the incident...
James puts double air quotes around the incident.
We are supposed to check them all with the computer. Don't worry, I double-checked yours personally.
What happened to the people you sent back in time? They are living happily in the past, right?
Not exactly. But we put their names on a memorial bricks. Frank didn't want to, but I insisted. You've seen them. They are on the path to the garden where we eat our lunches.
What? Are you telling me those bricks are the names of people who have died attempting time travel? There are an awful lot of them.
They aren't all from explosions. Most of them were from their brains getting fried.
Glancing around, I noticed broken cinder blocks scattered across the ground, and a few places had metal shards sticking out of the earth. One of them stained red.
Keep moving. We are fully charged and have it set for Cleveland, Ohio, Friday, January 7th, 1921. Don't worry, Robertson. If things go wrong, I'll pick a nice brick for you.
You can be a real asshole. I'm not going.
Again, how many times have you said that? Of course you're going. It's either take a chance on living a full life or sitting in a small cell eating mush. Get inside.
Frank holds the door open and motions for me to enter. Inside the building is a large metal sphere. The outside of the sphere is plated in chrome and glows with a deep blue color, the color electricity makes when it flashes between 2 points. In the center is an open space filled with a wavy blue-green fluid. Standing in front of it gives me a feeling of being insignificant. I don't notice James until he taps me and says,
Amazing, isn't it? A portal into the vastness of space and time. You're a lucky man, Stan. You may become the first person to survive time travel. Magellan, Armstrong, Robertson, it sends chills down my spine.
First? You haven't tried this before.
Oh, we have tried it plenty of times.
James hands me an electronic device. It's on a chain and meant to be worn around your neck.
Keep this tracker with you. It will record your trip and has a GPS beacon so we can retrieve your data.
I thought you couldn't go back in time. How are you going to retrieve me?
We don't retrieve you. We retrieve the tracker. The tracker sits for 100 years, but it's only a short time for us, depending on how long you last. Once the timeline is stabilized by you either killing your great-grandfather or your brain liquefying, the beacon is activated, and we can locate and analyze the data.
James, tell Mr. Robertson the record for time travel.
If you make it past 3 days, 17 hours, and 32 minutes, you will be the new record holder.
James smiles at me and nods his head.
But don't worry, we have made lots of improvements. Our models predict you will last 30 days, and once you take care of business, you should have a normal life.
Here's the problem with your little project. I find out these unpleasant details in drips and drabs. I expect this from Frank, but James, you disappoint me. Frank hands me a heavy sack. It causes my arm to jerk down, and I almost drop it on the floor. I look inside, and it is filled with $20 gold coins. I take a few out, examine them, and put them in my pocket. Is it all here? Frank gives out a short snort. I look at James, and he nods his head.
Use some of the gold to buy the house we talked about. You can send us regular reports by hiding messages in the basement. We will monitor it, and as soon as you place the message, we will get it 100 years later. Of course, we have to use the portal to send stuff to you, so only do it when you are alone.
I'm not promising anything. I look at Frank, and he shrugs. I don't think he cares if I live or die. It's a bit disconcerting.
When the siren goes off, you will have 10 seconds to enter. Don't hesitate. Everything is delicately balanced. The last guy took 11 seconds, and we had to rebuild the portal. We will be in the control room monitoring the situation.
You're leaving me? Where is the control room?
What's the matter? Are you going to miss us? It's 2 miles away, outside the blast zone, in case of boom.
Don't worry, that probably will not happen. And if it does, we need to be around to analyze the data and fix it for the next try.
James nods his head, hoping to get agreement. You're both assholes. I watch the two of them leave. As Frank heads out the door, I flip him off. He smiles and mouths the word, boom. The siren goes off 10 minutes later. I have second thoughts, but I don't have any options. Run into the void or go boom. I run into the void. Electricity surges through my body as a wind vortex suspends me in midair. My arms and legs flail as I try to grasp for anything. Flashes of blue lightning shoot in all directions. It is nighttime, but the moon is full, and I can see a large, partially frozen lake 20 feet below. The cloth bag of gold feels heavy and radiates with heat. It bursts into flames, and the gold glows red hot as it burns through the bag. The coins fall and crash through the ice. The vortex weakens, and I follow the gold into the lake. Darkness surrounds me as I become submerged in the freezing water. The cold shock forces the air from my lungs, creating bubbles that race upward. With my last bit of strength, I swim to the surface and gasp for air. I breathe in the cold night air, and sharp pin-prick pains fill my lungs. I grab the ice's edge and attempt to pull myself out of the water, but exhausted, I can only get my elbows on the ice and lean forward, keeping myself from sinking into the depths of Lake Erie. Those morons dumped me into Lake Erie in the middle of the winter. Freaking government bureaucrats, can't they get anything right? They promised to put me down in a nice soft pasture. James even said he would aim for a stack of hay. Now I'm going to drown because of his shitty aim, and my gold is at the bottom of the lake. If I survive this, they better send me another bag of gold. I guess it doesn't matter. I'm going to freeze to death or drown. Maybe both. I bet that prick Frank planned this all along.
Hey, mister, grab hold of the branch.
I hear a voice say. I see a man lying flat on the ice, pushing a long branch toward me.
Grab it and I'll pull you out.
I grab the branch and he tugs, trying to pull me onto the ice.
Push with your elbows. We have to get you out of the water, or you will freeze to death.
I use my last bit of strength and push myself on top of the ice. I lay there, teeth chattering, thinking how nice it would be to fall asleep.
Stay flat and keep your weight spread out. We will have to slide most of the way to shore. Come on, mister, don't give up. I have a camp with a fire. We have to get you warmed up.
The two of us slide on our bellies and head for shore. He keeps me in front of him and pushes me along as I struggle to keep moving. As we get closer to shore, the ice thickens, and he stands up and lifts me to my feet. He is a middle-aged man with bright eyes, but his skin is weathered and wrinkled, making him appear much older than he is.
Come on. We have a camp next to the railroad tracks. You won't be the first person I saw pulled out of the freezing water only to die on the shore. We need to get you warmed up.
I can see several camps along the railroad tracks. We head toward the closest one. It has a fire burning inside a barrel. I place one arm over the man's shoulder, and he helps me limp to his camp. In camp, two men are rubbing their hands to stay warm. They are younger than the one helping me, and are dressed in worn-out second-hand clothes. A pungent odor emanates from them. One breaks a wooden crate into pieces and feeds the wood to the fire.
Wilbur, where did you find him?
He looks like a drowned rat.
Joe, never mind that now. Get him your blanket. Ben, you put more wood on the fire. We need to warm him up before he dies on us.
My blanket. What will I use? It gets mighty cold at night.
It's only until he gets dried off. Now hurry.
Joe hesitates, looks me over, and glances at Wilbur. Wilbur nods and motions with his hand that he should hurry. Joe leans down and unties a bundle containing all his worldly possessions. He grabs his blanket and hands it to me. I take a whiff and curl up my nose.
If you don't like it, give it back.
Joe reaches out his hand.
Now, Joe, can't you see he is a city fellow by his clothes? He's not used to life on the road. Mister, you better strip off them wet clothes and wrap yourself in that blanket. Never mind how it smells. You will get used to it soon enough. Don't do it, and you'll die from the cold. Sure as if you drowned.
I strip down and wrap myself in the blanket. The freezing air wins over any hygiene concerns. I hang my clothes next to the fire to dry. They outfitted me with 1920s clothes, except I kept my silk boxers. I hadn't planned to get naked in front of a bunch of hobos. Ben notices them and rubs the cloth between his fingers.
That is mighty fine material. It feels like a woman's undergarment. Mister, why are you wearing women's panties?
Ben smiles and chuckles. Those are silk boxers, and they are expensive. Keep your grimy hands off them.
Well, la-di-da. I didn't know we had a Rockefeller in our presence. One with fancy silk drawers. Hey, Joe, you ever seen drawers as fancy as these?
I saw a pair in a department store window. They wanted $3. Can you imagine? $3 for a pair of drawers.
You must be rich, mister, paying so much for undergarments.
Ben, leave him alone. He almost drowned.
Hell, what were you doing out on the ice in the middle of the night anyway? You get a hold of some bad moonshine?
Ben puts a few more sticks on the fire and walks over and sniffs me.
You don't smell drunk, but you have to be careful where you do your drinking. They put some nasty shit in liquor nowadays. They make you think it's booze, but it messes with your mind.
Ben sits on an old railroad tie close to the fire.
If you have any moonshine, the neighborly thing to do is share it. I sure could use a nip to fend off this cold night.
I'm standing naked, wrapped in a blanket. How the hell would I have any liquor?
Just asking. No reason to snap at me. When a man ends up in the lake, there is a good chance he's been drinking. I knew a guy once got hold of some bad moonshine, decided he was going to swim to Canada, said he couldn't find no work in these United States and might as well try his luck in Canada.
Did he find work in Canada?
Nope, got halfway across and a shark ate him.
Joe stands and looks out at the lake. He crosses his arms over his chest and shivers.
Ben, don't go telling Joe tall tales. Now, mister, I think it's time you explain how you got into the lake. I saw a blue flash and you falling from the sky. That ain't normal, and seeing as I fished you out, I think you have some explaining to do.